I've used any kind of proxy you would think about, both residential, mobile, and the others. And I can tell you categorically that no proxy is essentially wrong or bad. It's just that you don't know the safety nets, you don't know the do's and don'ts, and that's why most time it end up not working for you. This will be the only video you will ever need to watch as related to anything proxies. Like every question you have about proxy will be answered in this video. The kind of proxy you should use, the different proxies that we have in the market, in the scenarios where you can use each of them, their safety net. It's very important for knowing the safety net of every proxy so that you will know how to use them and when to use them. Now, I'm making this video as per the request that I received from my personal messages on WhatsApp and even here on this YouTube community, and questions as related to proxy. And if I want to take my time answering every person's individually, it's going to be a lot. All right, so I promise I'm going to make a detailed video to talk about proxy, and this is what we are going to be doing in this particular video right now. If this is your first time coming around this channel, you are welcome to Value Up Academy. Here we'll talk about online businesses, all right, but specifically we'll be talking about surveys, and every trick that you need for surveys will be discussed here on this channel. If you're a returning subscriber, you are welcome to another exciting video. Both new subscribers and returning subscribers, please do well to like this video, drop a comment. That way the algorithm pushes the video to more audience. It is not good when you watch a video and you don't give a like or a comment. It's going to kill that video and help tell the algorithm that you don't like the video. Even though you watch the video, the algorithm will assume that you don't like it. That's why you didn't give it a like or a comment. And also please just subscribe, click on the button. All of this is just free. It's just at the click of a button. You have liked this video, you dropped a comment, you subscribe to this channel so that we can reach more people who need this kind of video. Now, without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now, we have many proxy platforms. I'm not endorsing any of them, and none of them are I'm endorsing in this video. All right, this is just a video to help you. Okay, so don't mind that I'm putting IP Royal here. I'm not endorsing them, but I'm just putting it in your screen so that you will see the kind of proxy that we have. We have the residential, we have IXP proxy, we have mobile proxy, we have data centered proxy, we even have web scrapers proxy. There are different proxies. All right, now on with web share is also the same thing. Now the reason I'm putting web share before your front is because I've done a video here on how to get $1 proxy from web share. Now some people went ahead to get that proxy and they came complaining that the proxy was not really of a good quality. All right, and now I'm putting this right here in case because I've bought proxies from this platform. In fact, I have about 3 proxies with them currently, 3 static ISP proxy with them currently. So, and I know the corners on how to get a good proxy from WebShare static proxy. Now, if you want me to make that video, just write in the comment section, make the video for how to get, or just type web share on the comment section, web share, look at the website, and I'm going to know that you want me to make the video on how to choose the best proxy from buying the ISP. Apparently you can choose your IP by yourself from their platform, and that's one of the beautiful things I love about them, and I can manually choose my IP by myself. So I've done that, and I have good proxies that I'm using for myself. So if you want, I can make that video. That's why I'm putting it right here. So back to today's video, let's go over to my board right here. So we're talking about proxy, and I make sure that we have residential proxy. Please, you have to bear with my write-up on my board because my pen is not here, and it has not arrived, and I'm using almost my hand right here. So we have residential proxy. We have residential proxy. Like I said, you just have to bear with me because of my write-up, but I believe you can be able to follow suit what I am doing right here. Okay, so we have the residential proxies, which are the ones that are like the hot cake among all the proxies. And then we have mobile proxies. So we have mobile proxies. Between residential and mobile proxy, there is no two difference. I've seen people quite talk down on mobile proxies. But if you actually know how to use mobile proxy, you are going to really have an advantage. Okay, I've used there was a particular website, a proxy website I wanted to, a survey website I wanted to have an account with. I used residential proxy. No matter how good my residential proxy were, they were screening my account, they were banning my account rather, until I was able to use a mobile proxy. And the moment I used a mobile proxy, I got the account. Then I went back to using residential proxy for the account. But at the entrance, a mobile proxy gave me that account. So here we have ISP proxy. Another place they call it static proxies. So we have these three running right here. I'm coming, let me just reduce this so that we can be in frame. So we have all of this. So we have the residential, we have the mobile, we have the static IXP. They also have the data centered. All of them has their safety net. This is data center. I'm just going to put comma here. So among these IPs, if you are aiming for surveys, we are going to talk about the first three, and we are going to remove data centered IP. Okay, so that is because you don't use data centered IP for survey. You can use it for other things. There are other needs that people have, and it's to use a data centered IP because they are the cheapest among all the IPs. So we are going to start off with residential. Now, please, I'm not promising you that this video is going to be short. So if you're looking for a short video, I would just suggest you don't go further from here. But if you want a detailed explanation as regarding proxy, then you are welcome to the right video. So let's talk about residential proxy for now. So residential proxy are the hot proxies in the market, and they are a bit more expensive than mobile proxies in some platform. Now, platforms that have mobile proxies more expensive, you should know that that mobile proxy is top quality mobile proxies. And as I explained these two proxies and the third one as well, you will begin to understand why the prices are like that. So residential proxy belongs to specific homes, either in UK, US, Canada, Australia, depending on the country that you are getting the proxy from. And so it is best for doing surveys. Okay, it's actually more acceptable for surveys. Now the reason why it's acceptable for survey, let me just wipe all of this. Let me wipe the mobile for now. I'm going to bring it back and want to talk about it. The reason why it is essentially more welcoming to survey website is because survey website policy demands one per, so let me write per one account. All right, so this is me writing 1 point per one account. I'm struggling with this, my handwriting, so you should just understand. So survey platform recommend, and their policies, all survey platform, is that one person can only have one account, even though you are two in your household, like you and your brother. Survey policy is that either you or your brother should open that survey account, that the two of you cannot open the same account, the account on the same platform. This is why residential proxies are more welcome in survey platform. So if you are doing freelance websites, okay, this way it's more welcome. Okay, outside that, mobile proxies are harder to detect. They are way more harder to detect. Okay, so the reason survey platform welcomes this again is because if anything should go wrong and they want to like track that account that did that thing, they can easily trace it to you. Because, okay, let me give an example. If you and one other person in your family use a residential IP to open a account on a particular platform, they are either going to ban the two accounts, or they are going to ban one of the accounts and leave one, depending on the platform. So let's say a survey platform comes up on board, and they want to check a particular IP, how many accounts is registered to it, and there is a residential account, and they are seeing like 6 accounts on that. They can decide to wipe out the account or one. Now, none of you did anything wrong per se, like answering the questions and all that. It is because to surveys, you are using a residential proxy, which is supposed to be for a particular home. And our policy demand that one person per home. one account per home, not two accounts per home. All right. So it goes against them. So that's why they welcome this more. So first, it can easily give them a trace back to the person, individual who is using it. This is why I'm always against you buying a residential proxy that is shared among more than 3 persons. Mostly you cannot control the website they are going to like use for doing surveys. Okay, so that is why residential proxy is essentially okay. Now, residential proxy 2, it's not meant to be rotational. I've seen people message me and they're asking me why residential proxies are always rotational. I've seen some people that even because they are even saying that residential proxies are not good because they are rotating. Now, ordinarily, residential proxies are not meant to rotate. All right, it's the IP that stays. Now, the only few times that residential proxy does rotate over there in the country is when the owner like turn off their router, because residential proxies are mostly tied to router, home broadband. All right, that's why most times if you're using residential proxy, you see things like fiber. Residential, when you go to like wad.com, you see under the IP type they'll write residential. Yes, it's because it is residential, it is a broadband, it's meant to be in a particular place. Okay, so actually rotating like that can also affect your account, because I've asked questions like that. If I should use this kind of IP, will my account get banned? Of course it can get banned, but there are safety nets. If you don't understand the safety net, your account will get banned. If you understand the safety net, your account will not get banned. Okay, so I'm going to talk about all of those safety nets in residential proxies as we progress. So residential proxies are meant to be static in nature. So what you see as static IP, which is the static IXP, it's also the way residential IPs are supposed to be, static in nature, not changing, only changes few times or only change when it needs to be changed. So the platform understand that IP can change. Yes. Another misconception that people have about residential proxy is that the IP must suit the address that they are using. It's a very it's not a complete truth. Okay, so let me explain this. Let's say you have a residential proxy that is in London. Okay, so let's put London for example, and your survey account is in Wales. I hope this pen can allow me write this well. So your account is in Wales. I hope I'm spelling this correctly though, but your account is in Wales. Oh, now what is going to happen is that is already too far. So survey platform will be like, how can your IP go to London, but your address is in Wales? Or let's reverse it. Let's say your address is in London, England, and your IP is coming from Wales. That account will not survive, mostly for a platform that is very strict. Okay, so that's why it is good to match your IP, mostly residential proxy, to your state, not necessarily city targeting, but state targeting. Okay, I hope you understand. So residential proxy, the targeting you should focus on is state targeting, not street targeting. This is very essential for those who are doing their freelance survey platforms on the US angle, because US have different states. Now you can't your account cannot be opened for you or opened in Florida and then you are in Washington, like your IP is in Washington. That is a total different state. And another thing about states, I just think I should say this, that in US, the time zones, I think they have about 3 time zones, but I know of ET, Eastern Time, and PT, Pacific Time. So these are the 2 times that are these are the 2 times in time zone in US. Now you can't say that your location is in ET, for example, but your IP is in PT. That is already going to get you into trouble. Okay, so what do? We make sure that our IP is in ET, and it should be in this state which is in ET. So New York is in ET Eastern time. Now, if your account is in New York, maybe a city inside New York, then hope I'm accurate with the New York, but you understand. Then your IP should be in New York, not necessarily your city. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to, use the address as it is from your IP. Is not needed. Okay, so you can use just your state targeting and your account is still going to do well. So now I'm beginning to answer the question of those who say that the residential IP rotate, your account is going to get banned because it's changing from one city to another. Yes, if you are getting a residential proxy from a particular platform that gives it based on rotation. Now, let me say the reason why the IP rotates before I talk about the other things. This is a very broad topic, so I'm trying as much as possible to finish on time. This is already like 26 minutes now. So, if a residential proxy rotates, it's because the platform giving you that proxy is trying to save the proxy. I want to see it this way, that someone is giving you their IP because you are doing a freelance job, giving you their IP to use from your country. If based on the fact that they don't fully trust you, all right, there's just a middle person who is giving you that IP, which is the proxy platform. There's somebody is giving the IP to the proxy platform, which is now giving you the IP to you. Now, if anything is done from that IP negatively, to be traced back to the person. So that is why proxy platform make sure that the IP rotates so that people will not have the time to use it for dubious activity, fraudulent activities. All right. Then another thing I will let you know is this, which is very important. Residential proxies often have 95% score. If your residential proxy is 100, it is too good to be true. I'll explain, because I know as I'm saying this, some people will be like, okay, you'll be arguing with what you already thought. The reason why residential proxy, most of them carry 95% fraud score, it is because it has a blacklist which is called I've forgotten the name, spam house blacklist, and it's called XBL. Now this XBL, what it does is that it's meant to prevent that particular IP to be used for email spamming. If you've done your history about email spamming, is when somebody sends an email to a company and use it to spam the company of money. So what platforms began to do was to put this IP into that blacklist so that the IP cannot be able to send email spamming. That's why you can't use it for email spamming. All right. So now when you come with an 100/100 IP, it is too good to be true. This is where static IP is always have 100, or most of the time have 100. Yes, static IP is always have 100, but residential is not, it's not even encouraged that you have 100/100, but that is beside the point. So back to why the IP rotates, I've already explained the fact that they are trying to safeguard the IP and whoever that gave the IP for you to be used. Okay, so that's why the IP rotates. However, when you are in a platform, let's say IP Royal, let's say any one you are using, I'm not here to recommend any platform. So let's say you are using a particular platform. When you want to get that residential IP, the rotating version, I use rotating IP, I use static IP. I use more of the static version, which is the true residential one, but it's static in nature, hardly changes. But I also use rotating version depending on what I am using it for. Okay, now when I'm using the rotating version, these are the questions you must ask the customer care. It is not very difficult to chat the customer care. Let me pull up the screen. Now, if you look right here, if my mouse is accurate, if you look right here, now, you can see this thing that looks like a message. This thing. So if I want to chat, this customer care, is to just to pull it up. I click on it and pull it up like this. and I begin to chat the customer care, and I ask them, look at it, I'll just do send message. Then I ask them the relevant questions. Because one thing you must know is that most of these proxy seller website or proxy givers website, depending on the one you want to call it, most of the customer care, they are not grounded. So that's why when you're asking them some questions, they are even confused. So it demands somebody that knows this thing to negotiate with them, and that's why I'm trying to help you know it, so that when you are negotiating with them, you will be talking like a professional. Okay, so what are the things for this one, for rotating residential proxy? The question you should ask first is that, can it, even when it rotates, can it maintain ISP or ASN? They are the same thing. Or sorry for that, or ASN. ASN. So ask them, can it maintain these two? Can it maintain the IP? IP means internet service provider. So like, it's just like you want to go and buy SIM card and you are considering, should I buy MTN or Glo, or should I buy Airtel? That is ISP. MTN is an ISP provider, internet service provider. Same with these countries. So let's say, for example, UK, for example. So you ask, can it maintain one IXP, which is ISP, right? Or AXN. Can it maintain these two? If it maintain it, then the IP has given you a success first of all. Because if this thing change, if any of this change while your IP rotate, it's going to get your account into shadow ban or into trouble. Imagine, for example, someone is browsing and the IP changed from MTN to Glo. I'm using Nigeria right now. If you're not in Nigeria, please just know that I'm using IXP. Okay, let me use the UK. There are Virgin Media, there's Sky Broadband, there are others, there are Community Fiber, there is others. So imagine your IP changed from Virgin Media to BT to Sky Broadband in the space of 6 hours. It's already a sign that you are a bot. It shows them that you are a bot. So when I'm about to get rotating residential proxy, I first of all ask this question: when my IP changes, will it maintain these two? If it doesn't maintain it, I don't go for it. Why? It takes a lot to manage when it does not, when this is not in place. Then also, can I set the rotational time? There's what they call sticky. I just hope this can help me spell it. There's what they call sticky session. Sticky session in rotating proxy is you setting the parameters of the IP when it should change and when it should not change. I don't think anybody is going to do this kind of video for you and explaining this, because this is more like a pro tips that I'm giving you right now. Okay, so yes, you're gonna ask them that, can it maintain a particular IP? Sorry, can I set the rotational time? So some will tell you, some people, most IPs is 2 hours max, 160 minutes, right? If I'm accurate, 120 minutes, because 60 minutes make 1 hour, right? So they'll give you 120 minutes that you can hold an IP. So if you can hold an IP for that long, you will now still have to check by yourself if truly it is it stays for that 2 hours. If it stays for that 2 hours, even when the ASN and all that is not consistent, if you want to manage the platform, let's say it is a cheap platform, then that way you have to be timing the fact that you will do one survey, log out, switch the IP, then do another survey. That is, you do like 1 or 2 surveys, within 2 hours you should be done. You switch it to another IP. But you see why I said that it becomes more difficult. It becomes more difficult if the ASN cannot be maintained. All right. So you ask them if it can be changed. That is for that. Then if you said 2 hours, if it says 3 hours, I have platforms that I've used platform that keeps an IP for 24 hours, and that was like a deal breaker for me. 24 hours at least, I won't stay in survey all through that time. So these are for residential proxy. These two are very important. Then you want to also make sure that even while the IP rotates, does it maintain the same state? So, does it maintain the same state? I don't care about city, I care about state. Does it maintain the same state? But like I said, if it cannot maintain state, some proxy provider will tell you to sacrifice targeting state over targeting ASN. If you are given this option, always target ISP more than state, although there are still risks though. So like I said, but if you can, if the IP stays for the 2 hours that they tell you it stays before it rotates, then you can always log off to manage this one and this one. But the best is to manage the two. All right. So there are few proxy provider, very few that offers the three of them. All right. That offers the three of them. So I've used platforms that offers me the three of them. I can maintain IXP, maintain state, maintain AXN, maintain my rotation, and one of them even killed me. I can even maintain when my IP changes, it gives me from the same subnet. I will not explain what subnet is here in this video. So these are the safety net for residential proxies, although there are residential proxies that doesn't change. And when you see those kind of residential proxies that doesn't change, they are mostly on the unlimited usage category. So that means you can use them as long as you want. But another thing you have to know is that they can be a bit more expensive. So let me just wipe all of this. I'm done with this. They are a bit more expensive. So if you see the residential proxies that do not change, that do not rotate, they are almost always in the unlimited category, and they are a bit more expensive than the rotational proxy. Actually, I like using the proxy that it's unlimited, all right, but I use pro traffic plan as well. Mostly when I'm using platform, I like to use the traffic plan so that I can use it whenever I want. Okay, so I believe I've been able to explain residential proxy. So you have the option to look for a residential proxy that doesn't change, no change, or you get the one that changes, which is now the one that is now the rotating proxy. So I've been able to help you know the safety net so that when you encounter these platforms, you will not be shaken. You will know what you want and what you want to do. So I hope this video helped you to understand residential proxy. If there are any questions as regard residential proxy, because this is not scripted, I'm talking to you from everything, from experience and from my head. Okay, so I've told you about the safety net. If you are going for the rotating version, make sure that ASN is consistent, make sure that state is consistent. If at all you're going to sacrifice basically for the state. All right, but it's not going to be nice for US. I'm telling you the truth, because if you can't maintain the state for US, imagine your proxy go to Washington, from Washington it goes to Florida, from Florida it goes to this and that. That is different states in 6 hours. You cannot be traveling like that, because when your IP rotates, it is assumed that you just left a mass. You know they call mass. You've heard of MTN mass if you're in Nigeria. So it means you just left a mass to another mass and your IP has rotated, or that your IP providers have just rotated your IP. But it's not going to be possible that you can just move from Texas down to Washington and down to Florida, Virginia, Georgia within one day. It's not possible. Okay, so that is why the state targeting and the ASN targeting is important. But if at all you can, between choosing ASN and state targeting, if you can't control that, which is suggest if you are using for US, target your states, then manage the rotational time to manage your AXN. I believe this video has helped you. This is about 29 minutes. All right, we are going to do the part 2, and I will explain mobile proxy in detail. Mobile proxy, if you understand it, it is really going to be a deal breaker for you, because I've used them a lot. All right, it's difficult to be traced back and detected if at all anything happened to your account. So this will be all for the video. Until I see you again, continue earning. Bye for now.